For every single one that who's a bit J.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Hi, David, I have a call for you. I'm just putting it through. All right, mate. Dave here. Listen, I know you've only come in to clean up the place, but I've got a bit caught up, so you're going to have to run the news tonight. Now, don't worry. It's not hard, and I'm going to stay on the phone and help you. First, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the broadcast room, so if you're not doing it already, look forwards towards all those screens. Right, look up at the top. That coloured bar is your audience. You want to keep the viewers going up and not down. Underneath that, you've got the screens. The one on the right is the broadcast screen. That's what the viewers are seeing at home. It's only a couple of seconds behind the master screen there in the middle. That's the one you control. Now, the four small screens on the left show the different signals coming from the studio, and you can choose between them using the numbered buttons on the vision mixer at the bottom left. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it and you'll pick it up in no time. Now, have a look to your left. These plugs control everything in the studio. I've left them set up for you, so provided you haven't fiddled with them, all you have to do now is throw the master trip switch and we're in business. Once you've got the power on, face the front again. You can see on the broadcast screen that we're in the end titles for the show before us. Fortunately, they go on for fucking ages, so there's plenty of time for me to explain. Oh, right, okay, they're over, so we haven't got long now till the broadcast. Right, quickly, mate, look down under the desk.
Coming up later on tonight on Channel 1.
You can see a load of videotapes on the left. They're your adverts. Pick any three and load them into the machines on the right. When you've done that, look up to the front again.
That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight...
Right, won't be long now till the signal starts coming through from the station. Stay on your toes. All the bigwigs are in tonight because of the election, so we better not make any mistakes.
Relax with multiple award-winning movie The Freedom.
When you get the signal, select screen 1 with the vision mixer and we're ready to go.
Prawn and mayonnaise?
You know, see,
Will be grilling his guests in...
It might increase our viewing figures.
every day you offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. That's how I should.
Tonight. It's
It kills.
National Weather.
And yet you persist, going in
Good night
5,
until
4.
But now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson for the
Good
National
evening,
Nightly
I'm
News.
Jeremy Donaldson. Good evening,
Our main story
I'm
is
Jeremy
tonight.
Donaldson.
Okay,
Moving on,
all
our main
good.
story is
Next is going to be the throw to the news titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as well. Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Buys honest Andy's totally independent. Buys honest Andy's totally independent. And corners the flood market. Sports fans everywhere. Top celebrators, popular sports fans Johnny celebrators, popular wins sports Johnny Hattie of the year. Wins sports personality full of sugar. And Meghan a spoonful of sugar. Star Lawrence Blunderclatch chatting with about his new movie, The Medicated. About his new movie, of course, The Medicated. We'll be going live to advance headquarters. We'll be going live to advance headquarters party. Have to say on their historic party.
Right. Button 2, 3, 2, 1. Lovely, mate. Next thing is the throwback to Jeremy with button 1 when that globe in the middle shrinks down and vanishes. Here it comes. Switch to screen 1. Now, lovely, mate.
The votes are in, and it's a decisive win. The votes are in.
We'll get a bit of interference around this time, mate. Keep your eye on the machine at the bottom right. Use that slider that's flashing, or your scroll wheel to move the wave up and down, keeping the green bit in the white bit.
But critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies, of a severe lack of actual policies, and of being the opposition parties have all conceded defeat. The opposition parties have overwhelming mandate, but have yet to appear overwhelming mandate. However, but have yet to appear public. Former Home Secretary.
Right, it's going well. All you've got to do now is play the advert at the end of the segment. Make sure you don't play it too early or we'll all get fired. Now the clock at the top is counting you down to the advert. When it reaches 0, press one of the 3 play ad buttons over there at the bottom right. I normally play the first one and the first break and so on, but you can play them in any order you want. I'll count you into it as well, but keep your eye on the clock. And 3, 2, 1, advert.
1 minute back, everybody.
Jeremy, I need you to fill after the ads.
Where
can you
Rank
get
Snatch is running late.
warm, sandy
I thought I'd ask him
beaches,
about the election.
clear
Personally, I wouldn't try to
waters,
confuse him with any
and
big words.
fine dining?
That's the same policy we use with you.
Well,
I
we're
thought that
not
was our
sure,
little
but here in
secret.
St Bromley on the
Right,
Tape,
doesn't
we've got a
remember
big hill and the bus comes
I'm
twice
deeply
daily.
uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship.
Visit picturesque St Bromley this summer and experience a holiday that's simply unlike.
Wicked. We made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence, because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long, 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot or pull out to the wide shot for a bit, just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programmes on television, haven't you? Make it look like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead, mate.
Interest. Isn't it time your family
We're coming
went
back
Bromley
from
way?
the break.
And hey, when
Quiet
you come
in
in
the
the dry
studio.
season, we've got a car park
Thank you so much.
on the Tape.
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Shock election winners. Later we'll be hearing from shock election
Get ready to go to Meghan on screen 4.
Is here with the star of both stage and screen. Is here with the star of both stage and
Thank
screen.
you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf, culture correspondent.
Jeremy.
And
Megan
today
Wolf,
I have a
culture
guest who
correspondent.
starred in
And today
everything
I
from
have a guest
Shakespeare
who starred
Right, go to Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his name.
by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. By none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
hope you believe when I tell you. I do hope you believe when I tell you.
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say having you here with us is among ours. May I say having
Right,
you
now
here
just
with us.
try and stay on whoever's talking.
So you've just finished filming your latest
The
movie,
Medicated.
which is called The
Yes.
Medicated.
The
Wow, what was
Medicated.
that like?
Yes.
Well,
Wow,
as
what was
I
that
said
like?
to Peter, as I said to Peter,
Peter
the
Jensen, the director.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction. Lovely. Now back to Thunder Twat.
wonderful
I've
chap.
worked with him
really
on
is.
several movies, all
I've
terribly
worked with him on several
I said to
movies,
Peter,
all terribly successful.
What a wild
I said to Peter,
ride this has been.
what a wild
Do you know what,
ride
Megan?
this has been. I really
And
meant
do you know
that.
what, Megan?
Wow, that
really
is
meant that.
fantastic. And
Am I right in saying that the character you play in this
Am I
movie
right in
is
saying
quite
that
an
the
academic
character you
one?
play in this movie is
Absolutely
quite
right.
an academic
A scientist.
Get back to who's talking.
A scientist.
Was
What
that
exactly are
a
you
challenge at
implying?
all?
What exactly are you implying?
But seriously, yes, you're right. But seriously, yes, you're
departure
right.
from my
It
last
was a complete
starring
departure
role
from my
when I
last
played
starring
Sergeant
role.
Brock
When I played in
Sergeant
Brock Rockman.
You'll remember
in
that was the
Man.
true story.
You'll Been on that shot a bit long.
For a love that surpasses one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. For freedom. A love, of course. I think it's grossed over $1 billion. But I think it's grossed over $1 billion. But,
It's a role that saw you score 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
so sweet
If I remember correctly.
But I really am not in it for the awards. But I really am not in it for the awards.
Those three little statues do take pride of place on my memory.
With all the others, I'm sure. With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it then that drives you? Awards. What is it then that drives you?
That is a beautiful question, Megan. And not easy to answer. Question, Megan. And not easy to answer. Like you. I'm afraid. Cut me. I'm afraid. And I will bleed. And I will bleed. That's how it feels. Often. Doesn't it? That's how it feels. Bleeding. Doesn't it? Giving. Bleeding. Suffering. Giving. For one's audience. Suffering. For one's audience. I suppose in the end I do it for the difference. I suppose in the end I do it for the difference. For the people that I inspire. I do it for the people that I inspire. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
Today, of course, and we're in for some real change. It looks like in the coming few months. It looks like in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result? What do you make of this historic election result?
Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed, historic is the word. Indeed, historic is the word.
Isn't it? Very difficult. Difficult, isn't it? Very difficult.
Remember the 10-second rule.
I've always been quite clear when it comes to politics. One should always strive, not fuck things up.
Shit, he swore. Well, don't worry, he won't do it again. Shit, he did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Which opens next week from the
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock. My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock,
that could affect humanity's very survival. That could affect humanity's very survival.
Let's take a look. Exciting stuff. Let's take a look.
Cool, looks like Blunderclatch is losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that. There's more interference coming. It's a bit trickier this time, mate. Use that little flashing joystick to the left of the knob, or hold down your middle mouse or Alt on your keyboard, and as the frequency changes, match it to the white bit by dragging right.
You think I don't know that? You think
Now we're going to squash the frequency back by dragging left.
Nolans, we mustn't. Nolans, we mustn't.
Dr. Lance, you Miss Flanagan. You Miss Flanagan.
Jubbly, mate.
For you, babe.
Next, we're going to change the amplitude. Same as last time, little joystick or hold Alt or middle mouse, and this time, push upwards.
They told me,
Dr. Hemlock.
but I didn't listen. Told me.
I'm drowning, Lance, she said. I'm drowning, Lance, she said.
Right, now let's match it back by going downwards.
Look at this.
The virus. The virus. The sterility. The sterility. This phone there. This phone there. This is the key. This phone there.
Not bad, you'll get it with practice.
Yes, we could stop it all.
We have to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves.
At the end of the clip, you'll want to play another ad. Remember to use the clock at the top to count you in. Right, I guess I better explain how to deal with bleeping out swear words. As you've probably noticed, the broadcast screen here is about 2 seconds behind the master screen here. When someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up, like this. 2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the bleep button or the space bar on your keyboard for as long as the swear word lasts. It can take a bit of practice getting used to hearing 2 things at once. Just stay calm and you'll get it. And if you can't tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you got to do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red line. Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear. Most people like to have the volume of the broadcast screen a little bit below the master screen. Let's set it now. As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert getting louder.
Remain. And
Good.
iceberg.
You're set to start censoring. Like I say, it takes a little practice, but I'll try and help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember, button lights up, count 1, 2, and hold it down.
Absolutely.
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the feed. Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late. You can use the number buttons on your keyboard, 1 to 4.
Running the country. Seriously?
Bad words. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Oh shit, he's pissed.
Shall I start?
Go for it, Pat.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming, and, well, where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do
They
it.
certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying southern bastard trick they had against us. But you, the people, you saw right through their shite.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. Makes me coarser than the grown-is fanny.
Memorably put.
Nailed it.
But to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign, you've heard us say that Advance are not a political party. A party is what you have when things are going well. When the country is suffering, you don't need a party. You need a team. A team that can change things. But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitting pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate. Before we came out here to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have produced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know the sort of... Probably you rather you don't. Because the likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax laws.
So, all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to hide. And earlier today, we revoked your passports. You want them back? You want to leave like you threatened before the election? That's fine. But first, you're going to pay us. You're going to pay back.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals into a team. To properly fund health and education. To raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute ferret shite. So to you posh twats.
The people who pay you a pittance to serve them drinks in their private clubs. The people whose children you raise.
So they've got time to get even fucking richer.
Advance have this to say to you.
It ends today.
We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been, in the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again, just like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get pissed.
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
Well, an interesting acceptance speech there from the leaders of Advance, and our apologies for the fruity language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. Someone's going to be in. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
Right, looks like you've got it now. Thanks for all the help, mate. I've got to go. Ferry's about to leave. Probably won't be coming back. Job's yours, mate. Good luck.
Same old boring politics then.
Is this some weird fever dream? Am I dying now?
You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
You're not coming for a drink?
No, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not to get murdered.
Deals are unreal. You've got people coming over at Christmas. You've got an aunt. She's going to leave a stain on the sofa. You don't want her sitting on this white sofa. She's going to have to sit on the dark sofa. This is the deal with Deal Appeal. You want to throw your money at us. We'll give you a leather sofa for a...
When the programme's finished, you'll get a broadcast report. It's 3 pages. This first page shows you how well the broadcast went. Each sequence and an overall grade. Remember, grades mean bonuses and they keep the boss happy. If you want to know more about how it went, select more info. If not, select continue to move to the next page. Right, this is an optional section for when you really want to understand what happened during the show. You've got a graph there showing you what the audience did. They're a fickle fucking bunch. And of course you can really drill into the details if you want to get better at making TV. I never came here, never once. Right, this is the important page. It tells you how much you're going to get paid and how much wealth you have overall. That bollocks at the bottom shows you the financial state of our main advertisers. But you don't own any fucking shares, you're a cleaner for God's sake, so why would you care? This is the last page and it tells you the state of the world, tells you how well the government's doing, and down the bottom there, this one's important, tells you what Channel 1 currently thinks of you. In other words, what the boss thinks. Alright mate, welcome to the archive. This is where you can have a quick look back at what you've done and how it looked to the public. There's 3 sections: broadcast, rushes and adverts. Let's start with broadcast. Click on it now. Over on the left, that's all the broadcasts that you've done. Click on any one of them and hit load tape. Once it's finished loading, you can use the rewind and the fast forward at the bottom there to help you get to the bit you want to see.
In a few moments, we'll be going live to tonight's National Nightly News. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming up later on tonight on Channel 1. At 7 o'clock, it's the semi-final of the quotation game, and it's a nail-biting quiz tonight as a team of nuclear physicists take on 4 old ladies from East Grinching. That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight looks at the history of the knee-length sock and its importance during the Great Blackouts of 1871. Not one to miss. At 9 p.m, sit back and relax with multiple award-winning movie The Freedom of Being Colin, taking us all the way up to 11:15, where, as usual, Dr. Adrian Atkinson-Blimey will be grilling his guests in Incisors, and tonight sees a return for leading economist Katie Brightman. Finally, at midnight, it's the National Weather Report, before we say good night until tomorrow. But now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson for the National Nightly News.
Right, click on rushes and let's have a look at those. Right, this is the rushes route. It's pretty simple. The 4 screens you can see, they're going to show you the 4 signals you got from the studio during the actual broadcast. Difference is you can mute any combination of them so you can have a listen to the stuff you weren't allowed to show. Select the broadcast and give it a go, and when you're done listening to the backstage secrets, hit back.
These aren't my cards. Please tell me these aren't my cards.
No, they're the right ones, apparently.
Oh, but this gives me nothing, Jenny. They must see that.
Oh, no. I think they think you won't have anything to say.
Oh, for God's sake, come on. It's a huge day. He's not an...
Absolute bonehead. I don't care, Rob. I'm not doing it. I agreed to do 1 BC interview a day. I made that completely clear when we started. Check my contract.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Oh, piss off. You're on thin bloody ice, Rob. Whole wheat, man. Whole wheat.
We're coming back from the break. Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Dawes. Our main headlines tonight.
Daddy, it's starting!
Every single one of you's a bit Jesus.
let's get set up and get on with it, eh, so I can get back to my guests. First of all, let's get the power on. You need to get at least the bottom 4 plugs on. Right, let's load up the adverts. You know, load the tapes under the desk, look down. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they? Right, you can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again, and the Vision Mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. It's really simple, mate. These 2 buttons at the bottom of the Vision Mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them, and they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine, and you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches 0. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So like with the adverts, choose carefully.
No,
and we're off. Good luck, mate. If I get time, I'll call you back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
My friend Janet says theirs gets really hot.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon. 10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the country's wealth creators in a state of panic and unfavourable rumblings already heard from overseas, I'll be asking my guests whether Advance can deliver on even a fraction of their manifesto promises. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honours, immediately being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artist Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatched Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding A-listers? And grievous bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more powers passing to the police, and less oversight, are we using an Advance-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that, and Megan Wolf with the young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
30 seconds back, everybody. Can we get the guests in quickly, please?
We actually activated the book Indestructible because people tried to set it on fire too much.
Any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So, like with the adverts, choose carefully.
No,
and we're off. Good luck, mate. If I get time, I'll call you back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
Get one of those. My friend Janet says theirs gets really hot.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon. 10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
To go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical freethinker. With the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guess if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington's appointment is a risk for the giant mega corporation. Sophia, as our regular viewers will be aware, has always been a wild child and has been romantically linked to several movie stars and sports personalities. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs. Sophia promises it will be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborgen-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flood technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. And judging from the angle and velocity of that spray, it looks like Johnny may have been celebrating a little bit too much. I certainly wouldn't want to be his dry cleaner. And grievous bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more powers passing to the police, and less oversight, are we using an advanced-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that, and Megan Wolf with a group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. Of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised, but what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is Right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd. Ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't...
And this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, we'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong. I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
Of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
You know, I think they might do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much are you being paid by them, then?
Shut the fuck up, Alan. I've never heard so much shit in my life.
Well, we'll see who's full of shit, won't we?
Alan, I can explain it to you, but unfortunately, I can't understand it for you.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
With his state-of-the-art human-like voice to keep them company when you can't. If you keep me happy, I'll keep you safe. And his incredible...
Alright, mate, Christ, I'm absolutely fucking flying, I tell you. How's it going, actually? Fuck it, I don't care, I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. Alright, mate, see you later, bye!
I'm just saying I'll do what I can, that's all.
Shit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
I've said I put a word in, that's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. His little Jakey's going to the big bird country with water.
If that sticks, I'll destroy you.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order. We're already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers. What are you doing? We need change at a structural level, Jeremy.
I'm leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? Albeit my mother's.
Just hang on. Oh, the problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us.
I cannot believe you, Ellen. I would have expected this.
Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I'm sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, a bloody gimp's escaped. Delia? Delia, could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much, did he?
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
Oh, sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in his box?
Oh, Clive, you know it's Wednesday. You go back in your gimp space.
And
Off you go.
whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people of
Darling,
this...
where's the padlock?
Oh, hold on just a moment.
Oh, Clive, this simply won't do. Naughty, naughty, naughty boy. Mummy said...
Clive, I am not having this again.
Mummy said, get back in your gimp space. No! Naughty! You beast, Clive!
As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality for us.
Here you are. Good boy.
Look, I spoke to Mallory at the Bridge Club.
No, naughty boy.
Tony Dawson, has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary and menacing a SWAT. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Hey! Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalisation, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Hey! Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we'll try and let you get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony! Hey! I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez.
Sopen!
Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. Big Chris,
Oi, oi.
Little Chris,
Oi, oi.
and Vampire Chris.
This one's, yeah?
Yep.
1 sec, love. Titwank Tony's on the news. Rehabilitation's difficult with the current system, Jez. Just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
Open!
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who's this guy?
Open! You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh. Not now, fellas, I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
The little boy.
Oh, I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here. Jesus.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
No fucking way, let's believe that!
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back. I think we... Yes, Tony? Tony, I mean, we're literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, we seem to have lost our train of thought. Complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody.
That went well.
Yes.
I ain't got long and I'm quite drunk. It's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the Vision mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't, though. You won't get punished for it or nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip. When the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed. I think I might go and throw up in a bit.
I'm sure he's on his way. Come on, it's welcome back. How hard can it be?
This is on you.
10 seconds, everybody. We're going to open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome's Black. I'm Megan Wolfe, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley-Hamilton. Girls, you must be thrilled.
We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest.
I'm the older, more popular one.
Only joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher.
Maths is really important.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history, Aristotle.
I just think that when we travel around all these problem schools and the poor kids see us, they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing.
We touch our audiences, and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela, and I, we often laugh about it.
Angela Algebra.
Yes.
We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
And teach people about the difficult issues. The issues in the play are what really matter.
And I think you're going to be showing us an extract from this play, aren't you?
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first year who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually have a name, yeah, because in a way she's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor. Maybe she's you at home, or like, maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Put it in, coach.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it. That's it, that way. So, Jeff, when did you first hear about the grant?
2 days ago. A letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
Wow, how did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they rang the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
Do you know what? It's funny because Angela and I don't usually vote. We're not very political. I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic mainly. But we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this old democracy thing.
Okay.
And here we bally well are.
Good stuff.
Fucking brilliant!
So, let's have a look at a short section of Hey, Friendship.
Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears. Tears. Another day of fears. But still I walk the corridors alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi Gary.
Oh, heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist!
Going somewhere, little first year?
Great. I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Violent father. Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. And so important.
Maths is for losers.
What?
Maths is for losers.
My arm's stuck, coach.
Keep going, for fuck's sake.
Right. Maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only truly happy when I'm eating?
Not today, Gary the Fist.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? What do you mean not today? My arm's free, coach.
Brilliant, keep going.
Right. Who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist. And you're just a sad little girl with two gay dads who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my two new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team. Yeah. And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
But I can't fight all three of you. And I don't have any friends of my own.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face. I could be you. She could be you. And you could be me.
Or you could be me.
Life can be peachy keen if you work as a team.
It's my choice to be mean. So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Hey, listen up. class girls can't rap. I ain't afraid of your crew lads. I'm a mother-loving rebel, but I still love maths.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think that folks like me probably shouldn't exist, but that's just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist. I grew up on a council estate. The park was hip, but the flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late, and he'd hit my mum if for dinner he had to wait. Where's my dinner?
It's not ready.
Where's my dinner, woman?
Go.
Don't make me ask you again.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate. 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 It's so damn hard on a council estate.
Life can be peachy keen.
Yeah.
If you work as a team.
Just work as a team.
It's your choice to be me.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Friendship!
Yes!
Well, thankfully that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night for all the headlines from across the country. My name's Jeremy Dalton. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
Oh, that was brilliant!
What the literal fuck was that?
I believe that was art.
I believe I've got a 14-inch cock, but it doesn't make it so.
I have a similar belief about an adequate paycheck.
Oh, someone please get these twats out of my studio.
Right from your pores to give you the crisp, brittle skin you've come to expect. New Judico Shon will revitalize the appearance of the strength of your face's skin. 40
Good evening, I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dalton. Our main headlines tonight.
Daddy, it's starting!
Ever since you
Good evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here, your boss. While you're powering up and getting the adverts loaded, I thought I should just tell you that we've had one of those public information films from the government, and it's mandatory that you play it. You still have a free choice for the other two, so read those tape labels carefully, but make sure you play the advance advert, preferably at the second break. Right, that's the lot. Have a great show. Total pimp. My god, that weather looks nasty.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Dawson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. Our main stories tonight.
Uncooperative. A mysterious symbol has appeared overnight on thousands of buildings throughout the capital.
Tonight, in an exclusive live interview with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, I'll be asking what this mysterious symbol might mean.
After 3 months of record-breaking approval ratings, could this be the daring first move of a silent resistance movement? And what would that mean as we go into the future?
We shall overcome. Trapped in Dante's taint for more than a month now, doctors Ingrid Svorsborg-Horgensvoord and David Wong announced today that they're considering 2 possible options.
With 2 of the finest minds in science working together, hopes are still high for the eventual return of the team to dry land.
Without enough engineers to successfully fix their craft, the team seem likely to attempt to farm the cavern's ecosystem while they wait for rescue from above ground. I think I'll stick to risotto, Jeremy.
Bearing their opinions, the fully rich are fighting back with a naked protest.
Our very own Robin Short was on hand earlier today when this new protest group first presented themselves.
It might seem amusing to us, but clearly this formerly overprivileged section of our society is not adjusting well to the new future. It's often too easy to forget that not every citizen is thriving under advance.
Fallen angel? Notorious addict Johnny Hansleeve seems to have reached a new low in his battle with booze, as this recent picture reveals.
Johnny's star certainly lacks its former glow these days, with public concern over his mental and physical health growing at an alarming rate.
Let's hope that the team at the Gentle Touches Rehabilitation Centre can help Johnny get back to his former glory. Johnny's family have asked for privacy during this difficult time. We'll have reporters at the clinic around the clock, so you don't miss a thing.
is this once celebrated role model about to become the bad boy of sports.
And radical ideas. In an attempt to put the Mr. Snugglehugs disaster behind them, Rimington's Fist CEO Sophia Rimington today announced a surprising new project that already has the markets raising an eyebrow.
Known for taking risks and bold strategies, could the adventurous CEO be leading the business giant down a dark alley, or taking it to a new level of success?
We understand the Mobile Orientation Operational Burrowing Service will be a new international travel system based around the construction of a major tunnel through the centre of the Earth. Sophia Rimington claims it will make travelling from one side of the world to the other the matter of an afternoon. Geologists are concerned about the implications of digging a hole through the planet, while flat earthers claim it should be quite easy.
With that exclusive Prime Ministerial interview coming up later.
And our very own Patrick Bannon coming to you live from the first annual Sports Board final.
You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News.
First tonight, after the Christmas horror caused by Mr. Snugglehugs, we have an exclusive interview with one of the victims.
Poor 7-year-old Timmy Tadlock, like so many of those affected by the Christmas bloodbath, has spent the last 3 months undergoing a series of reconstructive facial surgeries.
Last week, joyfully, he spoke for the first time since the tragedy. Tonight, he talks to us.
Before we go to the interview, however, this station would like to issue a full and frank apology for any part we may have played in the tragedy. We should never have advertised Mr. Snugglehugs. Without our publicity, the sheer scale of this tragedy, and now upwards of 8,000 casualties, might have been averted.
On behalf of the Nightly News team, we're sorry.
In future, we will do better.
Now it's over to Robin Short at the Tadlock family home. Robin?
Thank you, Megan. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Tadlock and their 7-year-old son, Timothy. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Yes, well, you're bloody lucky we're spending any time with you at all, after what you lot did. Irresponsible. I mean, whose idea was this?
Wasn't your fault. As you can see, Megan, there's still a few open wounds here. I'll tread carefully. I'm going to speak to Timmy now. Hello, Timmy. Can you see me?
Mummy, who's that lady?
It's the lady from television, Timothy. She's going to ask you a few questions.
You be careful now, it upsets him to remember.
Don't worry, Mr. Tadlock. I wasn't the youngest ever editor of the Swinstead Middle School Inquirer for no reason. So, Timmy, can you tell us what happened to you? You had just unwrapped Mr. Snugglehugs, hadn't you? Was he under the tree?
Yes, I could smell him already. He smelled like love.
Ah, yes, that'll be the fur. It's scented with hoof.
I was so excited. I ran up to my room and gave him a big hug. He was so soft and warm, like our cat, before he got in the way of Daddy's Porsche.
Bloody cat had a death wish.
And what did Mr. Snugglehugs say to you?
He blinked his real action eyes and said, "You're my very best friend." But I sure wish Mrs. Snugglehugs was here, and she can't be, for just $89.99. And then it's the general error. 41!
And is that when he burst into flames?
Look, careful.
And then he exploded.
Oh, look, I've asked you nicely.
And am I right in saying that one of his real action eyes is now permanently embedded in your cheek?
Yes. When I took him in at night, it glows through bandages. I know it's under there, staring at me.
Yeah, some of the other children have started calling him Timmy Three Eyes. And with his glasses, that's 5.
It's too many eyes, Robin.
And what's the last thing you remember before the darkness overtook you?
He looked at me with his one eye and laughed. Laughed as he burned.
It sounds very traumatic. Do you have nightmares?
Oh, right, that's quite enough of
Timmy?
you two coming in here with your camera trying to make a buck out of our suffering. I won't have it.
Mr. Tadlock, just a couple more questions. Timmy, do you think you will ever be what we can call
No, you've had your
normal
questions,
again?
and now look. Oh, you've made him cry with all three of his eyes. Calm down, you're excited.
Do you think your parents will ever really love you again?
Right, that's it. Enough. Come on,
I'm
babe.
happy, Mr. Tadlock.
Oh, your poster, your favourite poster. Timmy, are you okay? Oh.
So there you have it, Megan. Just one of the many victims of an indescribable tragedy that has shaken our nation.
I'm bleeding, am I not?
Thank you, Robin, Harry and stuff.
Many questions to be answered by Sophia Rimington in the coming days and months, I'd wager. How will she turn this crisis around?
So, Jeremy, what are the warning signs a consumer should look out for when they're spotting a dangerous toy?
Well, Megan, experts advise to always check for the new advanced mark, which guarantee a level of safety and quality.
Yeah, can we just get a close-up on camera 3 here? So if we take a look at this National Nightly News mug, you should see the mark just on the base of it there.
In the wake of the scandal, the government were praised for their swift response in bringing in this set of stringent checks and new products.
It certainly is good to know that someone's watching out for our families. When we come back, our very own Patrick Bannon will be live from the Sports Board finals. Stick around, you won't want to miss it.
We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back.
Oh, sorry, I'm bursting.
Oh! She's very good.
Who?
Megan.
Yes, she is.
Watch your back, Jeremy. The women are coming.
I'm more worried about this water dipping onto my head.
Alex, Bozeman, we're getting reports in that naked protesters might try and spoil the sports board final by waving their fleshy bits about. Try and make sure you don't broadcast it. It's 6 p.m. for God's sake. No one wants to see fannies on the news. Bozeman out.
Charting the highs and lows of DIY history, from the Canterbury nut shortage to the socket screw riots of 29. This detailed guide will bring to life some of your favourite metalworking moments. Start your collection today and we'll send you the first 8 editions with no postage or packing. That's right, no postage, no packing. Plus you'll also receive this exclusive little bit of drill bit absolutely
Well, that's what it says.
Yes, I understand that, but I always say welcome back.
I think we should just keep it as it is.
Well, of course you do. I've got one hack line.
What's that supposed to mean? I didn't write it, Jeremy.
That's all right, fine. Jenny, there's something wrong with the auto cue.
10 seconds.
Oh, I just felt a drip again. Have they not fixed this?
Want to see us fry? It's good for the ratings.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. Coming up later, we'll be speaking to the Prime Ministers about their exciting new healthcare facilities, transition centres.
Nice to see they care.
You're absolutely right, Jeremy. But first, we're going now to our own Patrick Bannon, who's reporting live from the finals of the new game that's gripping the nation, Sports Board. Patrick?
That's right, Megan. You joined me live here from the final of the first annual Sports Board Championship. It's been a hotly contested competition so far. I think it's fair to say these two have been dancing around each other all season. First up, we have Ellie Striker. She's the more experienced of our two players today. Striker has got an accuracy of 7, a danger rating of K, and a 12-month driving ban. Striker's known for her signature move, the lanky hamster. And facing her tonight, hoping to prove himself with a career record of 12 outs, 14 finishes, and a divorce pending, it's Mr. Wingspan himself, Tommy, the Fingernail Harris. Just waiting on the ref now. The slapping ceremony is taking part. Still going on.
Striker go first.
Striker, of course, first to start as she won the trivia round earlier on by some margin.
D-Robe.
Harris, perhaps the brawn and not the brains. Stupid. Eddie Striker. Nice start there from Striker. She's determined not to let the nerves show. Not after last time. On to Mr. Harris now. Tommy. Using his arm to pick up the ball. Not a bad shot there from Harris. Back to Striker for shots number 3. All right. She's gone to sort of throwing it under her legs. Not bad if you ask me.
Is there contact? Go the way completely.
to Harris. Bit of business with the ref, but it got sorted out. Back to Harris now. A ball in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Football! Move back.
I'd say that's fair, but what do I know? Oh no, and Harris is not going to be happy with that. So really not a good start there for Tommy Harris in round 1. We can only hope that round 2 treats him a bit better. But first, of course, after the argument with the ref section, it's time to change ends. Now we have the ceremonial changing of the ends. And of course, now they go back to the starting positions, as that makes sense. Striker giving it large.
Second round, double. Harris.
Wins round 2 now with Harris. Okay, we seem to have some sort of streak on the pitch. I apologise if we broadcast any of that stuff. She appears to have slogans across her breasts and arse. Try and ignore all of that. Security, I'm sure we're going to take them out as soon as possible. Apologise if we broadcast any of that. As I said, we're going to get the situation resolved as soon as possible. They're trying to carry on play, but it's proving a bit difficult, and I'm struggling to follow because it's quite an eyesore. And women's bodies, yeah. All right, great. Okay, so back into round 2 now, and Harris absolutely determined to close that massive gap. Betty Striker. No, it's just some of the tightest play I've seen ever. Harris. And was that the fitted thumb screw? We haven't seen that since the heats. What a brilliant move. Back to Striker. And we know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That is, of course, the ground sound. Excellent bit of play here on both sides of the bucket. I don't know about you at home, but I'm finding the technical mastering display here absolutely blooming jaw-dropping. The ref has spotted something in Harris's neck or head. And Harris is having an absolute shocker. What a miserable start there for Tommy Harris. But he is a late bloomer, of course, I've always said that. And after all, it is a game of 2 halves, 4 rounds and 7 subgenres. But now, of course, it's time for the half-time show. Sponsored by Remington's Fish.
On my whistle, on my whistle.
Nice piece of music here to start the half-time show. Okay, another posh protester loose on the court here. We can only apologise for that. We'll do our best to shield you from having to look directly at it. Is running around here with his genitals on display for all to see. And ruining what was shaping up to be quite the dance interlude there. Now he's thrusting himself in Harris's face. Security's on it. And the bucket has been knocked over! I cannot stand it when the bucket gets knocked over. Hopefully he'll get taken out now. Genitals flying around for all to see. Really, if you ask me, not Sunday morning television. And out of there, hopefully taken away, never to be seen again.
Final poses. Ball boy cannot be in the final pose.
And a lovely finish there on both sides of the bucket. I wouldn't like to call that one. And as we head into round 3, I'd love to know what's going on in these 2 players' heads. But unfortunately, because of science, we can't.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Not bad.
You go first. You go first.
So that ball boy's giving me the eye all day. I don't know what's going on there. Striker there, not a great start. She looks a bit flustered, I think, after all that swinging around. Back to Harris here. God, what I wouldn't give to be that ball. Am I right, ladies? Tommy Harris. And it dribbled down his arm, which is actually a really good move, because of course if it dribbles down his arm and goes on the floor, it's not going in the bucket. Back to Striker. And Striker's gone for the animal bonus there, but of course perhaps... And yes, Harris has counted with a tiny bell. That is wonderful play. Of course we've seen that before. Look at her face. She is absolutely gutted. What a mud. That could have been the clincher. What a massive shame.
Harris receives possession now.
Harris to serve now. Harris, of course, undefeated by Kestrel in his last 4 battles. So here we go. Tommy Harris. That's all right. Not bad there. He threw it quite far away from him, which is quite a good idea. Very clever there. Perhaps a little contact, a caution from the referee, who's being, if you ask me, a little bit harsh. Ellie Striker. And she's let the nerves get to her. What the hell was that? You hate to see it, don't you? You cannot believe it. Oh Oh, for God's sake. Okay, like, I mean, this is a mess now. I don't know what I can be doing about this. I mean, it's sort of breasts and genitals for all to see. I mean, there's only so much I can do. They're sort of everywhere, aren't they? All right, I'll try and carry on. The players are trying to carry on, but of course it's difficult because these protesters, hopefully we can get them taken off soon so we can carry on with the match. Okay, something nonsense is going on here. Yes, yes.
We want our money.
Yes, very good. Take them away. Bloody wasters, absolute wasters. Oh, jog on!
This is the mime round.
It's an absolute bloody... Okay, and now we're going to go into the final round. And of course, as it's a Tuesday, the final round is a mime round. Who could believe it? Nice imaginary shot there from Harris. It really could go in there at this point. Really high-level play here from two absolute juggernauts of the sport.
Hold.
The bucket getting moved back to its proper place. About time, if you ask me. She's juggling it around from her hands. Interesting. And she's put it in her mouth like as if it was an egg. And now she's and she spat it out. She did the egg spit. So a wonderful move there, quite late on.
Illegal spit.
From Striker. But she's in it to win it.
Harris's ball.
On it like a car bonnet. Tommy Harris here, having a bit of beef. And he's peeling it as if it were a banana, which is an interesting move. Not sure if he hasn't had his potassium or what's going on today with Harris. And he's trying to have the banana was the ball! What a fantastic move there from Harris. Unfortunately, that is the end. What a pathetic... There we go, Jeremy, that is over. How can he look his 8-year-old son in the face tonight? What a lump. We just have to wait for the referee now to announce it to make sure it is all official.
Contestants in, please. And the winner of the first annual Sports Board Championship is everyone!
Okay, the ref has agreed once again a win for everyone, including me as my 15th win in the Sports Board Championship. I'm going to be celebrating tonight with my wife and children. Another wonderful victory for me. Here come the on-site security to collect their medals, their 6th and 7th respectively. And thanks again for watching the Sports Board Championships. What more is there to say? I'm Patrick Bannon. Looking forward to celebrating tonight. And all that's left to say, Jeremy, is back to you in the studio.
Patrick Bannon had an extraordinary final.
Historic sports board, Jeremy.
I didn't know you were a fan.
Oh, yeah, I can wrench a doubler with the best of them, I'll have you know.
I certainly wouldn't bet against you.
When we come back...
Ow!
I'll be talking live with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, who apparently have a big announcement you wouldn't want to miss.
That's coming up after these messages.
1 minute back.
Fucking microphone shocked me.
What?
Fucking microphone just shocked me. Where's that sound guy?
Everything okay?
Oh, the mics are just trying to kill us now, apparently.
You'll be fine. You're unshockable.
I'm immune to your cheap flattery.
I'm wearing you down.
Bozeman again. Just heard from the chaps in maintenance. The storm is playing havoc with the electrics, and you might notice the odd spark. Nothing to worry about. Happens all the time. Dave got shocked into a coma last year, but he was up and at 'em the next day. Anyway, our compensation package is parallel to none. Good luck. Bozeman out.
Between you and your she-demon of an ex-wife. So what caused this big old problem?
So sorry about all these buckets. We seem to have sprung a leak. Well, several, actually.
We're going to need a whole new lining up there. Triple C.
We'll look into it.
Minister, it's so good to see you again.
Miss Wolfe, your star seems to be in the ascendant.
It's a great time to be alive.
Too bloody right. Peter Clement.
Megan Wolfe.
My, but that's a firm handshake you've got there.
She's tougher than she looks. Am I here?
Here, with Mr. Clement on your left.
Right you are, pet. Is your seat done?
10 seconds, everybody.
No, mine's fine. Have you had a little accident?
Cheeky cow.
5, 4, 3,
Welcome back. I am delighted to be joined by Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement. Welcome to the National Nightly News, Prime Ministers.
Oh, please, it's just Julia and Peter.
We don't believe much in titles. It doesn't seem very advanced.
We're delighted to be here.
Well, firstly, I should ask how you feel about the graffiti that's been springing up across the capital. Should we be worried?
Oh, no, you definitely shouldn't be worried.
Well, not unless you've got a fatal paint allergy anyway.
But yes, it does seem that there are still some people we haven't been able to help.
You know, whingers mostly.
People who've yet to benefit from the many advantages of the new future.
And you know, Megan, as my old mum used to say, there are some pissants who just don't know how to be happy.
We're working hard to reach these people, find out what they're angry about and how we can help. The door to my government is always open.
Someone's tripping on me.
But we didn't come here to talk about what may yet turn out to be some alternative arts project.
Which we no doubt will have funded.
When we want to talk to the nation about something far more exciting.
Yes, your office briefed us that you have an announcement to make, but they were being surprisingly secretive about it.
Let me ask you a question, Megan.
Oh, okay, it's not usually how it works, but...
What scares you? I mean, really scares you?
It's death, Pet. She's talking about death.
We're all afraid of our deaths. It's part of being human.
Sorry, are you saying that Advance have cured death?
That'll be a vote winner. Yep, that was definitely a drop there.
But while we may not have cured death, we hope we found a way to make it much less scary.
And much less painful and much less expensive. Look, which is me close-up camera?
Oh,
Pet?
sorry, yes, it's camera 4 like that.
When I was 13, my mum came and got me from school. He had to go to the hospital. My granddad, he'd collapsed that morning, so we'd all to say our goodbyes. And I went in to see him. He were all frail and pale. And I was scared because I'd only seen him the week before, and he'd been fit as fiddle. And he said to me, Peter, he said, it's the right time. I don't ever want to be a burden to the people I love.
Was that the last time you saw him?
Nope. 3 days later, he went back home. He lived with us for 9 miserable years after that. He had to be fed with a rubber spoon. He had a commode, so he'd just take a shit right there in the lounge while we were watching football. He wouldn't even wait till half-time.
That sounds...
It was awful. It were awful for us, and this is the point. It were awful for him. He could see it was destroying me, man, watching him slowly fade away. And he would beg her to turn off his breathing equipment at night, but she couldn't. Or she wouldn't. It were a crime, you see. And she didn't want to lose the children, as well as her old man.
No family should have to suffer like Peter's did. And now no family will have to. The Health Service is today opening the first of 300 new transition centres.
The transition centres will handle everything for your last days. The legal, financial, medical and emotional costs are all catered for and paid for by the government. So even the poorest citizen gets to pass on with dignity when they choose.
And that choice is important. This is a service only for people who choose it. For people who feel they run their course and don't want to burden themselves or their families with a slow, long, humiliating decline.
Fuck! This microphone package has given me electric shock!
Are you okay?
I don't know, I think it fried my asshole!
Oh, we're still on the air, Peter.
Oh, yes, sorry, my apologies all.
Are you not worried that this new system might be open to abuse?
In what way?
Sorry, I've got sapped again. Can I get a little bit of help here, please?
That the older generation might feel somewhat...
Jesus, I rolled your face, fucker! That one was massive. Right, no, this bastard's coming off.
That the older generation might feel somewhat coerced.
Coerced into spending their final days eating gourmet food and drinking fine wine and luxury spas and gardens.
Look, I am perfectly capable of... that grandmother with a ruddy twat!
Prime Minister, please watch your language.
For fuck's sake! Go get yourself sorted out.
Right.
We're launching a government information film tonight. It should tell your viewers everything they need to know.
You really do move at a breathless pace. It's hard to believe you've yet to be in office a year.
Oh, Megan, we're only getting started.
And on that note, thank you both so much for being here. Jeremy.
Right, yes, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank yous go out to our guests. Congratulations to all the winners at the Sports Board final. And we'll see you tomorrow night at the same time. My name's Jeremy Donaldson. If you can, have a peaceful night.
And we're out. Good job, everybody.
So they just...
The same, sir.
I don't suppose there's any way this could be a good thing.
It's my nephew, so we transitioned the moment I saw the leak.